langit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang islap ng matao at may tagumpay na nagniningning. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa at araw ng maghati pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang ligaya na pag may mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you to the 2022 Annual Stockholders Meeting of Monde Nissin Corporation. I am Mike Pasca, Head of Investor Relations at Monde Nissin Corporation. Today's Annual Stockholders Meeting is being conducted virtually through the AGM at Convene online platform. Present in this meeting are members of Monde Nissin Corporation's Board of Directors, namely Chairman Emeritus, Mr. Hartono Cuefanos, Chairperson of the Board and ex-com member, Ms. Cataline Darmono, Vice Chairman of the Board, Mr. Judiono Cuefanos, Director, President, and ex-com member, Ms. Betty Ong, Director, CEO, and ex-com Chairman, Mr. Henry Susanto, Lead Independent Director, Chairman of the Risk and Related Party Transactions Committee, and ex-com member, Mr. Romeo Bernardo, Independent Director and Chairman of the Audit Committee, Ms. Nina Perpetua Aguas, and Independent Director and Chairman of the Corporate Governance, Nomination, and Remuneration Committee, Ms. Marie Elaine Tail. Also joining us are Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Jesse Tail, Corporate Secretary and Chief Legal Officer, Attorney Helen Pugh, Chief Commercial Officer, Mr. Sammy C., Chief Sustainability Officer, Ms. Riza Kahukam Oy, Chief Operations Officer, Mr. Michael Stanley Tan, Chief Compliance Officer, Attorney John Castile, and Chief Risk Executive, Mr. Daniel Teichert. Finally, we also have with us representatives from our external auditor, SGV & Company, led by the engagement partner, Ms. Edith Estacio. Please note that this virtual meeting is being recorded. I would now like to turn this meeting over to the CEO and ex-com chairman, Mr. Henry Susanto, who will be the presiding officer and acting chairman for this stockholders meeting, and who will be presiding over the meeting from the company's principal place of business in Santa Rosa, Laguna. Henry?
Thank you, Mike. Good morning, everyone. I would like to thank our valued shareholders for participating via live streaming in the annual shareholders meeting of Monde Nissin Corporation. In particular, stockholders who are present in absentia and who will be voting through the AGM at Convene online voting portal, as well as stockholders who will have submitted the proxies to the Chief Executive Officer. The meeting is now called to order. Ms. Corporate Secretary, may I know if we have complied with the notice requirement for these annual stockholder meetings?
Mr. Chairman, we have complied with the notice requirement. I hereby certify that in accordance with the company's bylaws, SEC Memorandum Circular Number 6, Series of 2020 on meetings conducted via remote communication, and SEC Notice dated February 16, 2022 on alternative methods for distributing the notice of meetings, information statement, and other documents in connection with the holding of annual stockholders meeting in 2022, I have caused notice of this stockholders meeting to be distributed, as well as the information statements, materials related to this annual stockholders meeting, to stockholders of record as of record date May 27, 2022, through the following methods: by publication in both online and print formats on the Philippine Star and the Manila Bulletin on June 2 and 3, 2020, the last publication being made 21 days prior to this ASM; by posting on the website of Monde Nissin Corporation at www.mondenisin.com, and by disclosure through the Philippine Stock Exchange Edge Investors Portal at www.edgepse.com.ph. Further, the electronic copies of our definitive information statement, the 2021 annual audited consolidated final statements, financial statements, the minutes of the previous stockholders meeting, and other ASM materials are available on our website, on the AGM at Convene online platform, and on the PSE's Edge portal.
The stockholders of record having been duly notified of this meeting, may I know from the corporate secretary whether we have the quorum?
Mr. Chairman, based on the record of attendance at today's meeting, they are represented at this meeting by proxy, by voting in absentia through the AGM at Convene online platform, and by participation through remote communication, stockholders owning or representing 15,971,872,912 common shares, out of Monde Nissin 17,968,611,496 total outstanding shares. As such, stockholders entitled to vote representing at least 88.89% of the outstanding capital stock is present at this meeting, with the final count to be reflected in our minutes. I therefore certify that there is a quorum for this meeting in accordance with Monde Nissin's bylaws and the revised corporation code.
There being a quorum, may I request the corporate secretary to share the rules of conduct and voting procedures for this meeting, including the measures adopted by the company to provide the stockholders the opportunity to participate in the meeting to the same extent possible as in personal meetings.
Mr. Chairman, the rules of conduct and voting procedures were set forth in the definitive information statement and the explanation of agenda items, which form part of the notice of annual stockholders meeting. I would like to highlight to our stockholders the following. The agenda for this meeting covers a range of matters requiring the vote of stockholders. These matters were included in the notice sent to stockholders for this meeting. Stockholders were also given the opportunity to propose matters for inclusion in the agenda pursuant to the applicable rules and regulations of the SEC and the company's internal guidelines. Stockholders have been notified that questions received through AGM at Convene portal or through email to investor.relations@mondenisin.com or to corporate.secretary@mondenisin.com by 5 p.m. of June 15, 2022 will be given priority. Questions received from stockholders by June 15 have been collated and will be answered during the Q&A portion, which will be taken up under the other business part of this meeting. The company's investor relations team will respond via email to questions not taken up during today's Q&A. There are 6 agenda items to be voted on and acted upon by stockholders. Each such agenda item will be shown on the screen as the same as being taken up in the course of the meeting. Beginning June 3, 2022, AGM Convene portal registered stockholders were able to cast their votes on the agenda items. They may also cast their votes in real time, as the polls will remain open until the end of this meeting for stockholders who have successfully registered on the portal. Alternatively, stockholders were also provided with the option of appointing the Chief Executive Officer as their proxy. A preliminary tabulation was made of votes cast as of close of business on June 23, 2022. I'll be referring to this preliminary tabulation when reporting the voting results for each agenda item during the meeting. However, the results of the final tabulation of votes with full details of the affirmative or negative votes or abstentions will be validated by SGV and reflected in the minutes of this meeting. We thank our stockholders who have voted through the AGM convened online portal or by proxy. We encourage all shareholders attending via live feed today to vote using the AGM at convened online portal, which will remain open until the end of this meeting. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ms. Corporate Secretary. Let us now proceed to the first item of the agenda, the approval of the minutes of the annual stockholder meetings held on September 23, 2021. An electronic copy of which is available on the company's website and was attached to the definitive information statement as Annex E. Ms. Corporate Secretary, please present the proposed resolutions and the voting results on this item.
Mr. Chairman, management is proposing the adoption of resolution number S-1-2022 for the approval of the minutes of the annual stockholders meeting held on November 23, 2021. The resolution is currently shown on the screen. It says, resolved that we, the stockholders of Monde Nissin Corporation, approve, as we hereby approve, the minutes of the annual stockholders meeting held on November 23, 2021. Regarding the voting results on this item, stockholders owning 15,971,554,512 common shares representing 88.89% of the total outstanding capital stock of the company have voted for the adoption of resolution number S-1-2022. Accordingly, resolution number S-1-2022 has been approved.
Thank you. The minutes are hereby approved as presented. Let us now proceed to the next item on the agenda, the presentation of the management report, which consists of A, the message of the chairman, of the chairperson, the report of the chief executive officer, and the report of the chief financial officer. I now turn you over to our chairperson of the board, Ms. Catalin Darmono, for the message.
Thank you, Henry. Good morning and greetings to our stockholders and distinguished members of the Monde Nissin Board of Directors and colleagues. It is a pleasure to welcome you to our 2022 Annual Stockholders Meeting. Years, numerous headwinds in 2021, Monde Nissin experienced positive growth, primarily due to short and long-term responses. Coupled with our balanced portfolio, these have equipped us to better respond to a potential risk and stay resilient moving forward. 2021, the company made headlines as the Philippines' largest initial public offerings with a listing of 48.6 billion peso, becoming a publicly listed company in 2021 has opened Monde Nissin to new expansion opportunities and has served as a reminder of our corporate responsibility. With the public eye turned toward us during this milestone in the company's history, Monde Nissin continued to be guided by our corporate aspiration and our continued commitment to all our stakeholders. We acknowledge that our business has an impact on the health of both the people and the planet. Stay true to this aspiration, which is the heart of our business. We remain committed to becoming better. We remain committed to making better possible. Now, I would like to turn it over to our CEO, Henry Susanto, and CFO, Jessie Theo, to provide the management report on our year 2021 results, along with the highlights of our key strategic initiatives during the year.
Thank you, Chairperson Catalin, and greetings to our shareholders, board of directors, and colleagues. Indeed, our aspiration to improve the well-being of people and the planet and create sustainable solutions for food security continues to be relevant. In 2021, the COVID-19 pandemic continues to affect life and business on the global scale. while the World Bank reported positive global GDP growth in 2021 versus a GDP decline of 2020, widespread supply chain shortages and other logistical issues continue to surface throughout the year. The Philippines was met with a 9.6% economic contraction in 2020 and has only begun to recover economically. The public health crisis is also just tapering down, aided by the widespread vaccination programs during 2021. Under this challenging environment, Monde Nissin managed positive growth. Motivated by our corporate aspiration, we continue to invest and innovate. The company saw a 2% growth of Philippine pesos 69.3 billion in terms of revenue, thanks to everyone's efforts within Monde Nissin and the support of the consumers. We will leverage on this strong start and focus on our long-term growth plans to work towards making better possible. And with that, I would like to turn it over to JC to provide more details for our full year 2021 financials and recent development.
Thank you, Henry, and good day to everyone. Consolidated revenue for the year 2021 ended at 69.3 billion pesos, increasing by 2% versus a strong performance in 2020, given pricing actions, favorable forex in our balanced portfolio. Full year net sales for the Asia Pacific branded food and beverage business, or APAC BFB for short, increased by 2.1% to 54 billion pesos. Meanwhile, revenues from the meat alternative business grew by 1.4% to 15.2 billion, reflecting macroeconomic conditions and favorable forex effect. First, diving into our APAC BFB business, which made up 78% of total sales as of 2021. The domestic business, which accounted for 93% of APAC BFB revenues, posted 1% growth, 50.4 billion pesos, despite the negative effects of Typhoon Odette towards the end of the year. This is due to the sustained volumes for noodles, given programs to maintain pandemic gains, and recovery in the biscuit segment, especially in Q4, with a 3.2% growth due to in-home usage campaigns and easing mobility restrictions. We sustained our market leadership positions as our share remained stable or increased for the full year 2021. This is mainly driven by sustained volumes for in-home offerings and recovery of out-of-home segments. For noodles, the category experienced a surge in demand, given its nature as a staple product and as consumers prioritize essentials during the country's lockdown. We were able to grow in the category through Lucky Me, our flagship brand, and sustain our performance, gaining market share, solidifying our market-leading positions in the overall noodle space. Our new product launches and relaunches were keys in driving our performance in these categories. We launched Pancit Canton Casalo Pack to address competition in key areas, and relaunched Pancit Canton with thinner noodles due to consumer demand, as well as Go Cup Bak Choy and Bololo that incorporated an improved taste and look. Last December, we launched the Milky Me variant to offer better value proposition to address competition. We also launched communication efforts to promote consumption occasions and different ways to consume noodles. Our collaboration with the local social media influencer for the relaunch of the thinner noodles gained us the YouTube Works Award for Best Collaboration last July. The award is in partnership with Kantar, a reputable global market measurements company, and recognizes innovation and effective campaigns on the online platform. Efforts such as these are why our flagship noodle brand, Lucky Me, remains one of the most chosen brands in the country, earning the title for 6 consecutive years from Kantar. And by the way, a late breaking news we just got. I'm happy to also report that we have been again awarded as the most chosen brand for the 7th consecutive year by Kantar. Next, the business category saw a decline as a result of the reduction in usage occasions, given it is typically consumed out of home. This, however, recovered in Q4 as a result of in-home usage campaigns and easing mobility restrictions. Our company was able to maintain our market share leadership in this challenging space. We launched a nostalgic campaign to revive excitement for Fita, one of our key biscuit brands, as well as a campaign to further build usage occasions, such as eating our flagship Skyflakes biscuit brand at home with comfort foods like noodles. Now, zeroing in on others, which consists of strategic partnerships with strong brands that can be broken down to, first, the culinary category, which experienced a surge in demand as consumers prioritize in-home cooking during the country's lockdown. As such, we were able to grow our oyster sauce business and gain significant market share with the Mamacita brand. Consumers either switched from other culinary aids or experimented with more dishes at home to enhance or try different flavor combinations. This reflects the versatility of Mamacita's oyster sauce. Second, similar to biscuits, the beverage category saw a decline due to usage occasion reductions, given its out-of-home consumption nature. Despite this, we were able to gain market share in the yogurt drinks category as we introduced Dutch Mill Proyo, a probiotic yogurt drink aimed at teens, containing live lactobacillus that helps with better digestions and staying fit. For cultured milk, we were able to maintain our number 2 challenger position despite market share declines due to logistical challenges in bringing this cold chain product imported from Japan. Moving on to our meat alternative business, which comprised 22% of our total sales in 2021, with our corn and cauldron brands, revenues declined by 3.9% year-on-year on an organic basis as the challenging macroeconomic environment persisted in both the UK and the US. Food service, however, showed continued strong momentum throughout the year and grew by 36% year-on-year. While retail sales make up majority of our business, we are quite happy with this green shoot in food service. Before we get to our focus areas, let me talk about microprotein. This is the unique microorganism that we use for our meat alternative category. It uses our proprietary airlift fermenter technology. Through the decades of research and production know-how, we have a product that A, delivers superior nutrition with increasing scientific research on its health benefits. B, is better for the planet, using less carbon, water, and land in our value chain. And C, mimics meat in terms of texture, neutral in taste, and is versatile, allowing us to come up with alternative meat products across all meat types. This can be seen as we continue to develop and launch new products. The versatility of microprotein allows us to come up with a wide range of SKUs for all meat types for various meal occasions and recipes. Our recent product launches have been received amazingly well by our consumers. 7 of the top 11 rate of sale performers are corn's new product launches. We also have successful product launches in the US, as our meatless chicken wings earned the Kantar Product of the Year award based on consumer survey of product innovation. Lastly, food service is progressing well with a strong 2021 and ongoing discussions with key players. We have made very good progress with KFC, and we have launched our products in the UK and have limited time offers and trials in Europe. Turning into our focus area, in the UK, we were able to maintain our #1 position with the highest brand awareness and repeat purchase, despite the ongoing macroeconomic challenges. We continue to work on rebuilding our relationships with retailers and have increased our distribution points and have made good progress in strengthening our customer relationships. We are particularly pleased with the strengthening relationship with Tesco, the UK's largest retailer, and we take pride in that they have also asked us to be the category captain to help Tesco achieve their stated ambition of tripling the meat alternative business over the next 5 years. We will also build on our loyal consumer base through our various initiatives. Support our product development, increased distribution. Our 4th fermenter depot in the UK was commissioned on time in July 2021, and our 4th harvester, the complementary infrastructure, is scheduled for completion in 2022. Food service is progressing well with a strong 2021 performance and ongoing discussion with key players. We collaborated with QSRs in creating products specifically for their brand. We were honored and proud when KFC UK recognized Quorum as the NPD Supplier of the Year for the work we did in developing the corn fillet vegan burger, a truly amazing product. We have a number of new launches planned with KFC. We have launched in the UK, limited time offers in Europe, and have sent samples to select countries in Asia. We are also pleased with the growth of our food service in the UK as we continue to work with the education, health, and public sectors. Corn has a strong NPD capability, whether for retail or food service and QSR. There is more to come, and we will continue to invest in this area. All in all, there's a lot to do, but we are making good progress despite the external market headwinds, and we remain optimistic for the category as well as our lean brands in the long term. On profitability, core net income attributable to stockholders decreased by 5.4% to 8.2 billion due to the continuing inflationary environment and increased advertising and promotion investments in the meat alternative business. We are happy to report that margins remained resilient despite inflated commodity costs and continued investment in our strategic priorities. Our resulting reported net income declined to 3.2 billion, primarily due to one-off items related to the Iran convertible note and the IPO-related expenses. Despite the short-term headwinds, we have a very strong balance sheet, and our ratios continue to be healthy, allowing us to pursue innovation in new products and processes and invest in our brands. With the strength of our balance sheet and the confidence of our brands, we were able to refinance Marlow Foods' loan at more favorable terms with an estimated savings of 5 million sterling over the term of the loan. This gives us greater flexibility in executing our strategic plans. Now, I will turn it back over to Henry to speak on our long-term strategies.
Thank you. Long term, we see a long runway for each of our businesses. For noodles, the Philippines' per capita consumption still has room to grow compared to other Asian countries. We aim to capture growth through our strong brand equity and innovations. We believe there is a healthier segment to be built. We are installing additional high-speed airflow lines to produce more healthy noodles, substantially reduce the content of oil. We believe this would increase consumptions in the Philippines and open opportunities for entering other markets. For biscuit, though still challenged as the pandemic continues, we expect stable long-term growth. We have seen a recovery in Q4 due to the in-home consumptions and easing mobility restrictions. We will continue to work with our business partners for culinary and beverages to address consumer needs for in-home cooking as well as health and wellness. For meat alternative, we will continue with our focus areas. In the UK, we will stay on course with many new product developments that address increasing demand for healthier and more sustainable food. We believe that while there are short-term macroeconomic headwinds, the long-term consumer awareness on health and sustainability will sustain. We will also ensure that our products continue to be accessible and that our capacity remains sufficient to accommodate long-term growth. In the US, we are currently assessing our growth plans. Given the current market conditions, we plan to provide an update later this year regarding any changes to current strategy. For food service and QSR, we will continue to work with restaurant partners, developing products catered to their needs as we further deepen our relationship with existing QSR partners and expand our networks around the world. We will do this in line with our aspiration to improve the well-being of people and the planet and create a sustainable solution for food security. Our group has been built through continuous innovations and investment ahead of time, which are laid out in our sustainability strategy and focus areas. We are now in the process of embedding into our ways of doing business along the principle of making accessibility possible, making eco-efficiency possible, making inclusivity possible, and making collective action possible. In 2021, Monde Nissin sets its North Star targets, creating clearer and ambitious goals as the company works to become better. Each of our sustainability strategic pillars support certain United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and it is through this that we believe we'll be able to progress in making better possible. While we still have a long way to go with regard to sustainability, the pandemic has allowed us to take a closer look at the needs of our stakeholders, which enable us to ensure the short-term sustainability and business continuity. Consolidated revenue increased 7.2% to 18.3 billion pesos for the first quarter on pricing actions and volume growth in Asia Pacific BFB domestic business. Asia Pacific BFB net sales for the first quarter increased by 8.6% to 14.5 billion pesos due to the improving performance of the domestic business, which grew 10.5% to 13.7 billion pesos on price increases and continued volume growth for noodles, culinary, packaged cake categories. Biscuit also posted volume growth to pre-pandemic level. Meat alternative revenue decreased 1.3% year-on-year on an organic basis. as UK grocery market remains in decline and as country continues to experience challenging macroeconomic conditions. On a reported basis, revenue increased by 2.1% to 3.8 billion pesos due to foreign exchange gains. Retail sales posted a decline year-on-year as the market rebalances to cut out-of-home consumption. Meanwhile, food service delivered a record quarter and grew 124%. By taking care of our employees, we are able to continue and even expand operations and ensure that our products are fully stocked in the supermarkets, sari-sari stores, and the like. High and reliable service levels in the communities are critical while the pandemic persists, especially as a significant portion of our product portfolio consists of essential and in-home food items. All this is possible with the collaboration and care of our people, those working on the ground in the facilities, in our offices, and on the field. We are most grateful and highly appreciate the efforts of they made in the past year. They are our frontliners, and they are the reason why Monde Nissin ensured business continuity amidst the pandemic. As stewards of our stakeholders' trust, the entire Monde Nissin team will continue to work hard to strive for excellence, and as we pursue our aspiration to improve the well-being of people and the planet and create sustainable solution for food security. Thank you. Now, may I ask the Corporate Secretary to present the proposed resolutions regarding the management report and the voting result.
Mr. Chairman, management is proposing the adoption of resolution number S-2-2022 for the stockholders to take note of the management report, which consists of the message of the board chairperson, the report of the CEO, and the report of the Chief Financial Officer. The resolution is shown on the screen. It says, resolved that we, the stockholders of Monde Nissin Corporation, note, as we hereby note, the corporation's management report comprising the message of the chairperson of the board, the report of the CEO, and the report of the CFO. Regarding the votes on this resolution, stockholders owning 15,970,802,912 common shares, representing 88.88% of the total outstanding capital stock of the company, have voted for the adoption of resolution number S-2-2022. Therefore, resolution number S-2022 has been approved.
The management report is hereby noted. Let us now proceed to the next item on the agenda, which is the ratification of the 2021 annual audited consolidated financial statements. May I ask the Corporate Secretary to present the proposed resolution regarding the ratification of the 2021 annual audited consolidated financial statements of Monde Nissin Corporation and its subsidiaries and the voting result.
Mr. Chairman, an electronic copy of the company's 2021 annual audited consolidated financial statements was attached to the definitive information statement as part of Annex D, or the management report, which was made available on the company's website, on PSE Edge, and the AGM at Convene online portal. Management is proposing the approval of resolution number S-3-2022 for the ratification of the 2021 annual audited consolidated financial statements of Monde Nissin Corporation and its subsidiaries. The resolution is shown on the screen. Resolved that we, the stockholders of Monde Nissin Corporation, ratify as we hereby ratify the annual consolidated financial statements of the corporation and its subsidiaries for the year ended December 31, 2021, as audited by its external auditor, Sisid Gores Palayon Company. As to the voting results on this item, stockholders owning 15,970,802,912 common shares, representing 88.88% of the total outstanding capital stock of the company, have voted for the adoption of resolution number S-3-2022. Therefore, resolution number S-3-2022 has been approved.
Thank you, Ms. Corporate Secretary. The annual consolidated financial statements of Monde Nissin Corporation and its subsidiaries for the year ended December 31, 2021, as audited by its external auditor, SGB and Company, are hereby ratified. The next item in the agenda is the ratification of all acts of the Board of Directors, Board Committees, Officers, and Management for the period of November 23, 2021 to June 24, 2022. May I ask the Corporate Secretary to present the proposed resolutions regarding this matter and the voting result.
Mr. Chairman, our Board of Directors and Management seek ratification of all acts and resolutions of the Board of Directors, the Executive Committee, and other board committees, which were adopted from November 23, 2021 until today, June 24, 2022. These acts and resolutions are summarized in the explanation and rationale of agenda items portion of the definitive information statement. They include the election of the members of the various board committees, and the lead independent director, the appointment of officers, approval of the amended bylaws, appointment of attorneys in fact and authorized signatories, capital allocation and disbursement of funds to subsidiaries, treasury-related matters, approval of agreements needed by the company in the normal course of business, and matters covered by disclosures to the SEC and the PSE. Stockholders' ratification is also being sought for the acts of officers and management taken to implement the resolutions of the board, the executive committee, and other board committees, or perform in the general conduct of our business or pursuant to our bylaws, done or performed from November 23, 2021 to June 24, 2022. We are showing on the screen resolution number S-4-2022. It reads, resolved that we, the stockholders of Monde Nissin Corporation, ratify, as we hereby ratify, each and every act and/or resolution from November 23, 2021 to June 24, 2020 of the Board of Directors, the Executive Committee, and other board committees, exercising powers delegated by the Board of Officers and Management of the Corporation, perform in accordance with the resolution of the Board, the Executive Committee, and the board committees, or pursuant to the bylaws of the corporation. On the voting results, stockholders owning 15,970,499,712 common shares, representing 88.88% of the total outstanding capital stock of the company, have voted for the adoption of resolution number S-4-2022. Consequently, resolution number S-4-2022 has been approved.
Thank you, Ms. Corporate Secretary. Each and all acts and all resolutions for the period November 23, 2021 to June 24, 2022 of the Board of Directors and its board committees, officers, and management of the corporations are hereby ratified. The next order of the business is the election of 9 members of the Board of Directors of company for the ensuing year. May I please ask Corporate Secretary to present the list of nominees for election to the board?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Monde Nissin Corporation recognizes the importance of diversity in the membership in its Board of Directors. Its incumbent board comprises individuals of diverse ages, nationalities, religious affiliation, and genders, and spans a broad range of business and educational background. This diversity puts the company's board in the best position to provide meaningful value to the company and its stockholders, consistent with the company's core aspiration to improve the well-being of the people and the planet and create sustainable solutions for food security. Guided by the foregoing and pursuant to the company's corporate governance, nomination and remuneration committee's rules governing nominations and election of directors, the following nominees have been nominated as members of the board of directors and have consented to their respective nominations. Artono Quifanus, Catalin Darmono, Hediono Quifanus, Betty T. Ang, Henry Sosanto, Monica Darmono, Nina Perpetua D. Aguas for Independent Director, Marie Elaine Teo for Independent Director, and Mr. Romeo L. Bernardo for Independent Director.
Thank you very much, Ms. Corporate Secretary. May we have the results of the election?
Mr. Chairman, there being only 9 nominees for the 9 seats, the affirmative votes in favor of those nominated have been tabulated, and each of the 9 nominees has garnered at least 15,415,195,307 affirmative votes, or at least 85.79% of the total outstanding capital stock of the company. Given this, I hereby certify that each of the nominees has received enough votes for election to the board. Our proposed resolution S-5-2022 is shown on the screen. It reads, resolved that we, the stockholders of Monde Nissin Corporation, elect as we hereby elect the following directors of the corporation to serve as such beginning June 24, 2022 until their successors are elected and have duly qualified. Mr. Hartono Quifanus, Ms. Catalin Darmono, Mr. Hediono Quifanus, Ms. Betty Ang, Mr. Henry Susanto, Ms. Monica Darmono, Ms. Nina Perpetua D. Aguas for Independent Director, Ms. Marie Elaine Teo for Independent Director, and Mr. Romeo L. Bernardo for Independent Director. Given that each nominee had secured at least 85.79% votes in his or her favor, accordingly, Resolution S-5-2022 has been approved.
Thank you, Ms. Corporate Secretary. The next item in the agenda is the election of the external auditor and the approval of its audit fee. May we request the Chairman of Audit Committee to please present?
The Audit Committee performs oversight functions over the external auditor of the company by, among others, assessing its integrity and independence and the effectiveness of its audit processes. This is critical given the key role of the external auditor in providing objective assurance with respect to the company's financial statements. Mr. Chairman, in the performance of this oversight function, the Audit Committee has evaluated the performance of the incumbent external auditor of the company, Sisip Gores Vilayo and Company, for the past year, and the Audit Committee is satisfied with its performance. The Audit Committee and the Board of Directors have agreed to endorse for stockholders' approval the appointment of accounting firm Sisip Gores Vilayo and Company as the external auditor of the company for the year 2022 for an audit fee of $13,970,000, exclusive of value-added taxes for year-end audit services.
Thank you very much, Director Aguas. Ms. Corporate Secretary, may we have the proposed resolution on this item and the voting result?
Mr. Chairman, the Board of Directors and Management are proposing the adoption of Resolution number S-6-2022 for the appointment of the company's external auditor and the fixing of its remuneration. The resolution is being shown on the screen. It reads, resolved that we, the stockholders of Monde Nissin Corporation, approve as we hereby approve the appointment of accounting firm Sisip Gores Vilayo and Company as the external auditor of the corporation for the calendar year 2022 for an audit fee of $13,970,000, exclusive of value-added tax for its year-end audit services. On the voting results, I'm pleased to report that stockholders owning 15,657,603,100 common shares, representing 87.14% of the total outstanding capital stock of the company, have voted for the adoption of resolution number S-6-2022. Consequently, resolution number S-6-2022 has been approved.
Thank you, Ms. Corporate Secretary. The appointment as FGB and Company as external auditor of the company for the calendar year 2022 for an audit fee of 13,970,000 pesos, excluding VAT, for its year-end audit services has been approved. Are there other matters that require consideration from the stockholders?
There is none, Mr. Chairman. The stockholders were given the opportunity to submit proposals for agenda items for possible inclusion in today's agenda, but we did not receive any.
Thank you, Ms. Corporate Secretary. At this point, we will now address questions or comments from the stockholders. As mentioned by the Corporate Secretary earlier, management will reply by email to questions or comments not taken up during this meeting. But of course, we will try to address as many as possible. I will now turn over the floor to Mr. Mike Pasca, the head of our investor relations, who will read the questions or comments together with the names of the stockholders who sent them, and the relevant directors or officer shall answer the same.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First question comes from stockholder Aaron Legaspi. What is Monde doing regarding the commodity cost situation?
Mike, I'll take that question on. As we mentioned in our earnings release, we have been locking in on our key commodities, that is wheat and palm oil. For wheat, we have locked in prices until our November usages. And for palm oil, we have locked in for 100% of our Q3 usage and for a majority of our Q4 consumption. We divide our requirements in tranches so that we do not go all in on any particular position because of the volatility of the markets in these two commodities. We've also implemented 2 rounds of pricing this year, January and then April, to recover the costs. Further price increases will be evaluated in the coming periods.
Thank you, Jesse. Second question comes from stockholder Pierre Santos. Would the price increases be enough to recover margins? How should we look at margins moving forward?
Yeah. I'll take this question on as well. Maintaining margins during this very difficult time for our countrymen is not our immediate priority. Pricing to preserve margins will be very high and might disappoint and disenfranchise our loyal consumer base. We need to be mindful of our loyal consumer base and execute responsible pricing. Our priority is to support our consumer and long-term growth amid this extremely volatile environment.
Thank you, Jesse. Our third question comes from stockholder Marion Coe. Does corn have adequate capacity for your growth plans?
I'll take this one, Mike. We have more than enough capacity to support our strategic priorities. As of now, we are not utilizing all our capacity due to the weakness in the category.
Thank you, Henry. Our fourth question comes from stockholder Jennifer Lee. Do you have a target contribution of food service revenue as a percentage of overall meat alternative revenues?
Let me also answer this, Mike. We cannot mention a specific target. What we have seen so far is there is sizable growth in the food service sector. and it has gained good traction in the UK health and education sectors. We are present in a number of schools and hospitals. We also have made good progress with KFC, with Sodexo and Compass. The share of food service will easily increase while retails remain challenged. Food service contribution was 7% last year, and I think it is now 15% of our meat alternative revenues.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, there are no further questions.
Thank you, Mike. That concludes the 2022 Annual Stockholders Meeting of Monde Nissin Corporation. And the meeting is hereby adjourned. The link to video recording of this meeting will be posted on the company website. Shareholders may raise any issues, clarifications, or concern within 2 weeks of the posting of the link by sending an email to the email address flashed on the screen. We thank all of you for joining us today and for your continued support to Monde Nissin Corporation. I wish you all well, and please stay safe. Thank you very much.